Attitudes are emotional and cognitive evaluations or judgments that we attach to people, places, objects, and ideas. Understanding how our attitudes are constructed is important because attitudes have an influence on our behavior and our perception of events. We are typically motivated to defend our attitudes. We can have both positive and negative attitudes that are affected by the environment around us and the way we perceive it. A positive attitude can lead us to excuse, explain away, or justify negative characteristics of a person or object. Negative attitude towards an object or person can make us blind to positive characteristics. Psychologists have concluded that we have three major components that determine our attitudes. An affective component, how you feel about the person, object, or idea, a behavioral component, how you act, and a cognitive component, what you believe or think about the characteristic of that person, object, or idea. Our attitudes all contain elements of all three components, however, some may be more prominent than others. Our attitudes typically match or determine our behavior. However, psychologist Whetten created a theory that demonstrates what happens when our attitudes don't match our behavior. Cognitive dissonance theory, the tension we feel when our behaviors don't match, motivates us to change our attitudes to be more consistent with our behaviors. Prejudice is a strong positive or negative attitude towards a group of people that biases the way we think, act, and feel about a member of a certain group. Positive prejudice could be when extra privileges are given to a certain group or others and make assumptions about high-quality individuals from a certain group. Negative prejudice is when privileges are withheld from a group based solely on their membership to that group. Stereotypes are overgeneralized characteristics that we assign to all members of a perceived group. Some examples are: women are bad drivers, Americans are fat and lazy, and blonde women are unintelligent. Self-fulfilling prophecy is how our expectations, attitudes on a situation will affect the outcome. Harvard psychology professor Robert Rosenthal tested self-fulfilling prophecy in the school setting. He randomly selected students to be labeled as bloomers and said they had the ability to do significantly better and inform the teacher of their findings. Because of this, the teachers provided the bloomers with more opportunities. Those students had higher IQs than others. In conclusion, the teachers' attitudes towards some students affected the bloomers' performance in the academic setting. Attributions and biases is how we tend to overemphasize personal attributions over situational attributions. An example of attribution and biases would be this football graph. If you look at the graph for the team that won, they tend to have made about 80 comments claiming personal attributions. For example, they had heart, desire, dedication, and about 20 situational comments, such as having a good coach and a good support system. For the team that lost, there were about 50 comments blaming themselves for their loss, about 50 putting their loss on the situational attributions, being that their ref made bad calls and the football team was playing dirty. Corresponding bias is the idea that people's behaviors match their personal characteristics. If an individual doesn't talk much, it's because he or she is rude and unfriendly. If someone does well in class, it's because they are dedicated and they had great motivation. Corresponding bias could lead to the fundamental attribution error, which is basing behavior on internal factors instead of basing it on external factors. For example, you have an individual who doesn't talk much and is short with their words. You have both internal and external factors. Internal may be they're not polite, shy, awkward, rude. External might be that they might be having family issues or a recent breakup with a significant other. The fundamental attribution error would be looking at internal factors. Self-serving bias is the idea that if good things happen to us, it's because of internal factors. Us doing well on a test would be because we're hardworking and we study. Bad things happening to us because of external factors, such as the questions were bad and the teacher didn't teach the subject well. The purpose of self-serving bias is to help us maintain our self-esteem.